Washington, this is VOA News. Agreement on Iran nuclear deal. Deadly car bombings strike Baghdad. I'm Ray Kouguell reporting from Washington. Iran and 6 world powers reached agreement on carrying out an interim nuclear deal reached last November. It'll be taking effect January 20th. Iran will limit its uranium enrichment, which the West says is being used to plant a nuclear bomb. In exchange, the United States and European Union will ease economic sanctions on Iran over the next 6 months. During that time, the 6 world powers, Britain, China, France, Germany, Russia, and the United States, will continue negotiations with Iran on a permanent deal. Secretary of State John Kerry, who helped to negotiate the accord, says the United States and its allies will work closely with UN nuclear inspectors to ensure Iranian compliance.
As this agreement takes effect, we will be extraordinarily vigilant in our verification and monitoring of Iran's actions.
Secretary of State Kerry also says he's confident the Syrian opposition will attend this month's peace talks in Geneva. Following a foreign ministers' meeting in Paris Sunday, Mr. Kerry said that coming to the talks will be a test of credibility for all parties. The Western-backed Syrian National Coalition says it'll decide by the end of the week whether or not to attend the January 22nd talks. Iraqi police say 3 bomb explosions killed at least 18 people and wounded several dozen more in Baghdad Sunday. Edward Iranian reports from our Middle East Bureau in Cairo.
Fire crews doused blazing vehicles after the latest bombings in the Iraqi capital during a wave of violence aimed mostly at pro-government and Shiite targets. The most powerful blast Sunday hit the Merab Alawi car park, where dozens of army recruits were milling around. It was the second major blast targeting army recruits in 4 days. Another Sunday explosion, apparently from a car bomb, caused casualties in the Kazimiya district of the capital. The attacks came as Iraqi army forces continued to shell targets in and around the town of Ramadi. Edward Iranian for VOA News, Cairo.
A state memorial for former Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon is planned for Monday. Israel and world leaders will attend. U.S. Vice President Joe Biden will lead an American delegation to pay respects. It'll be followed by a private burial at Mr. Sharon's ranch in the Negev Desert. Mr. Sharon died Saturday at the age of 85 following complications from a massive stroke 8 years ago. He'd been in a coma since that time. Sheikh Hasina was sworn in Sunday for her second straight term as Bangladesh's prime minister after one of the country's most violent elections that left at least 18 people dead. The victory of Ms. Hasina and the ruling Awami League was a foregone conclusion, since the opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party, led by former Prime Minister Khalida Zia, boycotted the election. Thousands of Ukrainian activists gathered in the capital, Kiev, in a continuation of last year's massive protest movement against the government's decision to forego closer ties with the European Union in favor of increased cooperation with Russia. Sunday's rally brought an estimated 50,000 to Independence Square. During the demonstration, opposition leader and former boxing champion Vitaly Klitschko urged Ukrainians to continue with street demonstrations and called for a nationwide strike. South Sudan rebel leader Riek Machar says his side is no closer to agreeing to a peace deal following his meeting with African mediators. VOA's Gabe Jossel has more from South Sudan's capital, Juba.
Speaking to VOA by phone Sunday, South Sudan rebel leader Riek Machar doused hopes for a negotiated settlement to end nearly a month of fighting.
We were not closer to a deal because apparently they have played down the importance of releasing the political detainees. And also they had played down the importance of the fact that there is invasion from Uganda of South Sudan.
Following meetings last week with South Sudanese President Salva Kiir and the political detainees, IGAD envoys said the detainees stated that their status should not be an impediment to reaching an agreement. Uganda also denies allegations of military involvement in the conflict and says its troops are only in the country to protect Ugandan civilians. Gabe Joslow, VOA News, Juba.
I'm Ray Kouguell, VOA News. More at voanews.com.